Now, in terms of participation in the sport of netball is in a very healthy state. As for results on the biggest stages, there is room for improvement. Even though we have shown signs of promise, the consistency has not been there. The Proteas Netball team finished outside the medals at the recent Commonwealth Games, but at home the sport is active at different levels in the hope of improving our players at an available opportunity. Now, the premier annual inter-district event is currently underway in Cape Town at Stellenberg High School, running from 6 to 11 August. Over 1,900 players across 122 teams are competing. To talk to us about the state of netball in South Africa from the highest to the lowest levels, we have roped in former Proteas assistant coach Dumisani Chauke. Dumisani, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Week in Review. Let's start with performance of the Proteas at the recent Commonwealth Games and what we do right, and where do things go wrong for our team who went into this competition looking like possible medal winners?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Nicole. So our team was really hard at work. We had quite a number of players that were playing overseas as well, preparing for the Commonwealth Games and obviously playing against some of these players that they were going to face at the Commonwealth Games. So yes, we went in there looking like a tip-top sharp team, making sure that, we've covered all our blind spots. But as you know, the game of netball is played between the four lines. We just fell short of that semi-final, maybe not being consistent, like you just said now, in how we maintain our performance right through our games, and just some minor details that we still need to work on. And luckily, it's about 12 months until the World Cup. So this has given us opportunity to identify some of the things that we can work on planning and working towards that World Cup next year in Australia.
Dumi, we've seen, the increase of players under professional contracts. Do you feel that our domestic competitions have improved in the last couple of years? Or should we look to have more of our top national players playing in professional leagues around the world, like your Australia, New Zealand and England?
I think TNL is coming okay. Slowly but surely, we are increasing, the standard, the level of play and intensity. But, it's never a bad thing to have more players going out there and playing internationally, because while they're there, they're playing against other international players. So if we can have the opportunity to take more of our players out of the country, yeah, sure, by all means, we should do that. But that does not stop us from increasing conditions or improving conditions right here at home, which is what we are trying to do with the TNL. We do have other players that are going to be announced a bit later, but we are making strides towards making sure that our competition becomes competitive as well.
Something that is key is always, of course, the pipeline. So the inter-district competition happening at Stellenberg High School, it's also a good barometer, to see the quality of players in our system and how far that depth goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm literally here in Stellenberg, and I've been watching some of the games, also having a good mixture of under-19 players playing in under-21s, a mixture of under-21 players playing with the senior players. So that exchange of experience, exchange of netball knowledge, exchange of just in a way, sort of like handing over the baton to some of the younger ones is something that I am literally witnessing right here on this netball court. So it's a good pathway for us, because we want our players to play the Spanish National Championships. From there, we then select the players and the coaches to then go through to TNL. From TNL, that's where the national squads. I mean, even looking back a couple of weeks ago, we had TNC, where we will identify some of the players that can form part of the teams that are here, eventually going through to TNL, and then hopefully one day wearing the green and gold and playing for South Africa.
Dumi, I've seen you do a lot of work with PEP, of course. And I mean, you've worked with young ones. You're hugely motivated by a passion. Talk to us about the important lessons that can be learnt at a young age, which players, can carry through the years. And just, speaking about that young age, I just want to piggyback off an interview that a colleague of mine had, in terms of violence that's happening in schools that we're seeing with youngsters. So this is, sort of chalk and cheese. How do we get then some of these learners to also, change direction and, take their attention away from wrongdoing and rather pivot it into something that's a lot more positive?
Well, the one thing that I like the most about the PEP Netball program is that we're catching these young girls as young as 6 and 7 years old, because they were catering for under 7, under 8, and under 9. And we are bringing them in with the element of having fun, right? And then while they're having fun, they're learning how to catch, how to pass, how to play netball. And while they're having fun, they're going to fall in love with the sport. They fall in love with the sport. They become lifelong athletes. And we also emphasize, on the side of that, when we go around doing the peppermint netball coaching sessions as well, and we emphasize to the coaches how they can teach them the different life skills through the game of netball. Talk about self-control, talk about discipline, talk about following rules and regulations, because sport has rules and regulations. Talk about time management, safe management, because the girls or the kids that play sport, they're all already a step ahead of their peers. I'll say that because they need to plan for their homework time, for their sport time, for their play time. So already the skill of discipline, hard work, commitment, planning, time management, self-management is already taught at a young age. And I mean, it's a sad situation right now in South Africa with all the violence that's happening in the schools. And I think we need to, in a way, go back to the culture of having our kids play sport. As they say, a child in sport is a child out of court. And I think we need to start living that in South Africa.
Definitely. I just want to touch on one thing, please, Dumi, before you go. One thing that we've touched on a few times, you and I, when we've talked, is about netball not being professional as yet. How far do you think we are on that on that journey? What needs to happen for the sport to be made professional? What exactly is the problem? What is lacking? What is missing? What do they need?
So I think we do have the coaches, we do have the players. We need a bit more corporate support to come through to make sure that the financial resources that go with running a proper professional league is in place. I mean, if we saw, like, judging again from the performance of our girls out at Commonwealth, it just shows that the need for a professionalized league will assist us in getting into that top 4 finish. So it's more about corporate coming on board and saying, listen, we can assist with facilities. Someone says we can assist with player welfare. We can assist with the financial means and resources in order to run this league. So I think we are on the verge of that, and the performance at Commonwealth Games should add to our strong case to have corporate coming on board.
And one last thing, very quickly, before you go, Dumi, what are some of the areas of improvement that you would like to see in our organic systems?
Athlete-centered management, that's number one. Well, you said one, I'm going to give you two. Athlete-centered management, number one, and number two, we need to start treating sport like a business, because it's become a business.
Definitely. I'm not sure if we've lost you there, but thank you so much for that. That is former netball assistant coach, Dumisani Chauke. I saw her nodding her head, so I think she has heard us, but we are also out of time, but it's always great speaking with her.